Today's episode is with Robin Packard. Robin is the top ranking distributor at Singular, a $100 million health and wellness network marketing company. They actually had to invent her rank because no one had ever hit that rank before. She's funny, humble, hardworking, and really awesome to talk to. She lives in Texas and is a proud mother of three. So when you started, did they have words for all those things? Like income producing activities, and like, did you just like, hey, get out there?
Yeah, so when I started Singular, we didn't even have like a packet in the kit. Like there was just nothing. We made our own, hey, welcome packet. This is how you do it. Like there really wasn't any marketing tools. I didn't even know what an MLM was. I went to my first convention and someone said MLM when they were speaking. And I leaned over to Kara Cunningham, who's my sponsor, and said, "What's an MLM?" I had no idea. I took not one business class in college.
That is so funny. Well, and I'm in business school, and that just kind of makes me think like, what are all these things that I'm learning all the time that I'm actually not going to use, that aren't going to help me?
Well, I'm sure you would use a lot of it. I mean, my background was just biology. I had a lot of biology classes, and which was helpful on the product coaching side. It's just, as far as sales, zero experience. I'm actually the opposite of a salesperson, I feel like. I don't know.
In what way?
I don't know. I guess I always grew up with this connotation that like a salesperson or distributor was pushy, high pressure. And I never liked that. Like I'm kind of naturally introverted anyway. So like the minute I'm around salespeople and like they really start pressuring me, I kind of want to withdraw and like escape. So that's why right off the bat, when Kara Cunningham was like, "You should do this, you should do this," I was like, "Oh, I'll be horrible at that. I'd be horrible at pressuring people and like going for the kill. That's just not me."
Yeah.
But I think there's just a way big difference between the culture of Singular and like salespeople. I think it shows when you're genuine and like truly want to help somebody, and it's not just about a sell or a kit, selling kits.
No, totally. A question that I get a lot is, like, where is the balance between being salesman and pushy, and being, a wuss and not even asking? Because some people are like, I don't want to be salesman, and they want it so bad that they go too far the other way, and they're too afraid to pose, so they're too afraid to ask their friends. Like, how do you find that balance?
Well, I mean, I think you just know, like, if you don't ask, it's always no. I know, like, an eye-opener for me in the very beginning, I was a distributor, but I wasn't pushing it. And one day my brother called me and said, "Hey, what's that stuff you're doing?" And I told him, he goes, "Yeah, I just signed up under Jana Dyer." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But then I was like, you weren't putting it out there. You didn't talk about it. You didn't so that's how it needed to be. And it just was an eye opener for me. Like you either gotta get bold. And what I try to tell new distributors, I'm like, in the beginning, we were all scared. We were all scared to be turned down. And then just one day, and like, it just doesn't bother you anymore. Like one day your belief is so powerful that if you get a no, it's nothing. And what I found is like no basically has always meant later for me. Like they've always come back. I can't even remember someone that's just flat told me no and never would do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just takes people watching to see what you're going to do. I just think you just kind of have to throw a Hail Mary and start doing it all the time until you get better at it,
Yeah.
And you do slowly get better and your delivery gets better. And it's when people's confidence gets better that things really start to change. Like because people can tell. I think it doesn't even matter so much the words that are coming out of your mouth when you talk to people. It's like the excitement, the passion. Like if they can tell if you love it, that's what people feel. They might not remember a word you say.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
Right. Right. When you started, did you feel confident in it? Like, how long did it take you to start to feel confident?
No, I was terrible. So my big deal was I had a lot of faith in the products and felt very confident in talking products, but I did not talk about the business because then that would mean salesy to me if I was like trying to push business on them.
Right.
But when I went to my first convention and decided like I'm going to do this, I'm going to be serious about this and do this, I just had to go force myself. And truly, it is forcing yourself. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to make this phone call and I'm going to talk first about the business. And then I'm going to say the products are great, the comp plan's great. I'm going to tell you about this business and what it's doing for me. And that's when the game radically changed for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see after that, a lot of the people that I brought in were much more business minded. And it was because I had approached them with the business more.
Right.
I just don't ever count anybody out for the business. Like, as far as products, I mean, if that's all somebody wants, that's fine, but I'm always going to continue planting that seed because it was a year before I was super interested in the business with Kara. And so I tell my distributors all the time, well, what if she would have quit? What if she would have quit talking to me about it? There would never be this line of Singular because I never would have done it. So when you feel like you're bothering people, you really need to just realize that some people take a while to marinate on it. I'm pretty hard-headed. It takes me a while. It has to be my idea.
Right. So it took you a year to basically be like, hey, this is my idea. Actually, I'm going to do this for myself.
Yeah, evidently I'm a really slow learner because it took me a year for me to sign up to do the products. And then it took me almost another year to like do the business.
Yeah.
So, I'm either a really slow learner or just that hard-headed.
Who on your team reminds you of yourself the most?
Gosh, probably Ursula, but I would say Ursula is better than me. Ursula and I think a lot alike all the time. I don't know. Sometimes I think I'm kind of right in the middle of Ursula and Crystal Nichols, kind of a mix of the two of them. Both are really great leaders. There's a lot of stuff I admire about both of them. I learn a lot from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would probably say Ursula though.
Yeah.
We're the most like-minded.
How do you know each other?
So it's kind of funny. A girl was wearing a skirt at a convention, and I don't even like skirts, but I must have really wanted the skirt, and I kept calling Ursula and emailing her about how she ran a boutique, and asking her about this skirt. And then finally she called me one day to tell me that she had one. And we got to talking about Singular. She was asking me, I remember she said, is the money for real? And I was like, well, it's not Monopoly money. So she kind of gets me. She gets my sense of humor.
I've worked in sales jobs and, obviously work at Singular now. And it's weird to have a job that mixes friendship and work.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen that anywhere else. Like, your best friends you work with, and because you're friends, you do better. Like, it's kind of strange,
It is. It's exciting too, though. It's been really fulfilling for me to watch how it's changed my friends' lives, because I do remember when I did that three-way call not a three-way, it's just Ursula and I. When I did that call with Ursula, she said, well, it's 106 in Texas and I can't turn on my air conditioner because I can't afford it. And then to now see where she is today, I mean, that's really exciting. It makes my heart happy to see what it's done for my friends. And I think that's another thing distributors have to remember when they feel like they're bothering their friends. Like, I would rather have bothered my friends and seen what the positive outcome has been today than to have never bothered them all and see them stuck in the same position they were 6 years ago.
Yeah. So it's been 6 years.
Let's see. I came in 2012. I think Crystal came in 14. Yeah, so I think 6 years for her, and then Ursula maybe 15. I can't remember. It's all kind of been a big blur.
And look at you now. You've got a purple blue throne in your living room.
I don't know about that, but
Oh man, I love that. That's awesome. I was just thinking, so 6 years, 2012, is that what you're saying, roughly? So,
2012, I started the products in August of 2012.
and so the business like 2013, roughly.
Yeah, I started getting interested. I had a meeting in January and I hit manager that night, but I still wasn't convinced. Um, it was really the next year, so probably early in 14 that I was like, okay. That's when I went to convention and that's what changed my mind, was that convention. I was a silver director when I went to that convention and not all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and when I say all the way in, like I wasn't doing everything I knew it would probably take to be successful. The scary things, I was not doing the scary things. I was basically just posting on Facebook and hoping someone would come to me, and
Yeah.
that's just not realistic. It's not, I mean, you're going to get a few signups here and there after that, but that's not network marketing. That's not working the business. That's not going all in.
What was the thing you were most scared of in the beginning?
I didn't want to be judged. I'm a really private person. So first it was really hard for me to put before and after pictures because one, I didn't want them to see my struggle. Like I felt like I kept my weight problem, I mean, as hidden as I could.
Yeah.
I didn't want my high school friends seeing how big I had gotten. And I guess I was ashamed for my fat friends. I was the fat one, my non-fat friends.
Mm-hmm.
I was ashamed for them to see that, hey, I'd once been thin and let myself get heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of, and then I feel like there's some judgment that you get for putting yourself online, you know, like, oh, she's not that thin, or, oh, she didn't look that, you know, or whatever. I was real hung up on that. And then just, you know, being so out there with my struggle, you know, that was kind of my private pain. But it took a friend saying, well, okay, so if you post this picture, because I remember Kara was wanting to post a before and after picture, and she actually did, and she tagged me in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was losing my mind. And she said, if that helps one person, wouldn't it be worth it? Like if there was one girl like looking just like you and watched or saw that and it gave them hope, would that be worth 99 of them rolling their eyes and judging you? And I guess at that moment I kind of decided, well, yeah, it would be. As long as if someone can benefit from my private struggle and my pain, then it's worth it. But you know, it just took me a while to come around to that. And then contacting people, like I didn't want to put myself that out there and, you know, be rejected or people label me as that girl selling stuff. But what I tell people all the time, like, it's pretty liberating not to care. And I'm not saying I don't care about anything. I'm saying I don't care if somebody thinks I'm that girl on Facebook. I don't care if someone makes fun of my weight loss struggle, because those aren't the people that matter. Those people's opinions aren't supporting my kids or feeding my kids. So there's something real liberating the day you just are like, yeah, I just don't care. This is my truth and this is my story and here it is. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a lot harder to do than I think most people know.
Yeah. I think everyone has a fear list, like, oh, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. Because what if, you know, what if I get rejected? Well, what if you do?
Yeah.
Like, what if you don't hit your goals? You're still further along than you were if you never tried.
Yeah. And I found, like, right after you put yourself out there, usually it's kind of like panic. And then you realize it's really not that big a deal. And people
Right.
really caring, and people probably scrolled past it and, you know, either didn't notice it, didn't think twice about it, or like, hey, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Most people aren't haters.
Well, I think most people, are more can relate to your struggle than they can perfection. I think there's way too much of perfection on social media. Look a certain way, act a certain way. I think people can't relate to that, and that's unattainable. I think what they can relate to is like struggle, and this is my story. And I'm quick to say, when we are at big events and stuff, like we dress up, we wear heels, we do this, and a lot of girls do that anyway, but I don't. Like when you see me on a normal day, I have jeans on right now and a t-shirt, and that's kind of my normal jam. So I'm hesitant to let people think that, put any me or whatever up on a pedestal, because like I try to be real about my struggles and let them see, because I think anyone can do this. I think I'm proof that anyone can do this. I had no sales experience. I'm introverted by nature, and right away I realized, okay, if you're going to do this, you got to get better with people. And I do like people, and I love people, and I care about them. But for some reason, when I'm in a big group, it kind of wears me out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Where it charges an extrovert up, like they get a big charge off of it, and me, it kind of makes me tired. And so, like, I have to always remember, like to put myself out there, because I naturally tend to sit in a small group or be in a small group because that's where I'm comfortable. But from the outside looking in, you cannot do that, because then people think, oh, she just wants to sit with that, and that's not true. I want to talk to everyone. I just find it hard sometimes to make small talk, and I've had to try to get better at that.
Right, right. Do you get nervous, like speaking in front of people, or did you?
I think probably the first time, I'm sure I did, and now it really doesn't bother me. I thought the video the other day I did for the virtual convention, that was harder for me, because you're just talking into a camera with no feedback, you
Yeah.
know. But then I got good and bad reviews, not bad reviews, but I had a lot of people say I could relate to you a lot more just talking. And I
Mhm.
had a friend said I liked it much better because you weren't joking. And she said, and I will joke sometimes, and so I don't know. I don't know. I doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. Hmm.
No.
I
I mean,
think
I
it,
don't fancy myself to be this big public speaker, but I'm not afraid of it.
right, right. And I mean, at this point, you've been doing it for a long time. It's probably you're probably breaking down some of the walls that you built up, before you started. I wonder, so you were saying, 6, 7 years that you've been doing the business side of it. Do you ever have those moments where you just, I don't know, like where you're like, oh, I can't believe I've done all this. I can't believe like all this has happened to me. Like it was only 6 years ago that, my life was in
Uh,
this place.
it's weird you asked me that, because as I was hitting ranks and people would say, like, I can't believe you're doing this, I never really felt proud of myself or anything. I was just like, well, I have a good team, you know. And then I don't think it was until I built a house in Texas, in an indoor arena. And there was one day where I was like, man, I can't believe how far I've come. Because one of my private struggles is when I got divorced, my kids, we had a house, we had an indoor arena. And when I got divorced, my kids lost all that. And we had this kind of transition time where we lived in a guest house until we figured out what we're doing. And then we moved to Oklahoma for a year, and we kind of knew that wasn't where we were meant to be. And then we moved to Texas, and then we lived in a guest house. So I told everyone, like, we've lived in a lot of guest house. And then finally I got to build a house and build an indoor arena and give that back to my kids.
Hmm.
And I don't know that I was proud. I just felt tremendous relief to finally give them back what I felt like they had lost. They certainly had never said that to me, but I did have a moment where I was like, yeah, I can't believe all this has happened. And I feel grateful and so thankful for Singular, just because I'm scared to even think where we would have been without it.
Yeah, definitely. How old is your youngest again?
He's 10.
Okay. And your oldest is 16?
Yeah.
Um, so your oldest is, what's her name again?
Ryan.
Ryan. She has probably kind of a better perspective on this whole journey, right? I mean, it started when she was maybe 10, 9 or 10.
Yeah. Yeah, probably Ryan. It's been the most craziest for her because, when I started Singular, I think I showed a slide once at convention. I think I had $32 in my checking account and $34 in my savings account. So, yeah, it's been crazy. I'm sure she could elaborate more on it, but where my little kids, all they've ever known basically is Singular since they were little.
Well, this is something that me and my wife talk about all the time because, we talk about, hey, let's give a better life to our kids. I think every generation wants to do that. But it's kind of weird too, because a lot of the things that were hard in my life ended up making me a better person.
Right.
And, like, you don't want to rob your kids of some of the hard stuff, but now that you've accomplished all these things and you do have that better life, like, how do you now give them the right type of hard things? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I do believe that because my dad instilled very early on a work ethic. I mean, when I was in high school, the minute I could get a job, actually, I remember being too young to have a real job and them paying me cash. I started waitressing and I really wanted to buy a set of roping cabs and I had to waitress all summer to save the money. And I remember how much better I took care of those roping cabs, how thankful I was to have them because every dollar I made went into that. And I think that's important. And that is the one thing I really want to instill in my children is a work ethic, because I think a work ethic in the world will get you really far. Some drive and motivation. So like my oldest right now, she gets up and she goes to work every day. Since school is online now, she goes early and works for a horse trainer every single day except Sunday. And she knows that's getting her closer to her goals. And then, my little kids, same deal. Like they have to take care of their horses. They have to go down and make sure they ride them every day. Like I just always think it's important that kids like have a job. Not when they're little, but always like chores or something that they can get some satisfaction, feel like just to know that hard work. And then I want my kids to have a lot of compassion for people, and I try really hard to make sure that they don't feel entitled or anything, and give back to others. And we try to do a lot of that stuff, and that's fun. It's a good learning experience for them. But that's one thing I don't want my kids to ever lose is like compassion for other people and seeing other people struggle.
I think I heard it in one of your speeches. I don't remember where it was, but you used the word, I want to say either servant leadership or serving heart or something like that.
Yeah, I want my kids to grow up with a servant's heart. I think it was in my Platinum Executive video I said that. I want them to go out in the world and try to change the world, but realize like they can help a lot of people on a one person level. Like you change the world by starting with one person, making their life better. I just don't want them ever to get callous to the fact there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world that they can help. Whether they have any money or not much money, there's always something you can be doing.
How was when you had your first boy? How was it different from your girl? We're expecting a boy, so I'm looking for tips.
Well, he's a mama's boy.
Yeah.
He's harder because he's harder to keep alive. Boys are just daredevils by nature. And then I was so shocked when he was little because I thought, oh, I'm going to dress him in all this boy stuff. And he came out harder than my girls to dress. He had more opinions, still does. If a shirt is an inch too short on his wrist. Oh, he's not wearing it.
Oh, that's funny.
But he's definitely a daredevil. He likes to rough and tumble. I mean, he rides a dirt bike. He lopes his horse around bareback crazy as fast as he can. I mean, they're just different. Where my girls they're definitely tomboys, but they're a little more refined. I don't really worry about them trying to do a daredevil stunt that's so dangerous they might hurt themselves.
Were you like that? Were you like kind of a daredevil as a kid?
Yeah, and because my brother was 8 years older than me, and I felt like I was the test dummy for everything. Like, they'd build a ramp and then have me ride my bike over it to see if it would hold or how bad he'd wreck. And I remember once he built this huge snow ramp, and on his four-wheeler, it went as fast as he could with an inner tube and then kind of cut off and sent me over it. So, yeah, I mean, he may just get that from, I don't know, but he definitely is the adrenaline junkie in the family. He likes to go fast.
Yeah. Horses, cars, all of it?
All of it. Dirt bike, Can-Am, horse, all of it.
Something I've thought about too is, when my kid's a teenager and I don't want him to do something crazy, but it's something that I did. How am I supposed to be like, hey, don't go around stealing traffic cones and throwing them on the freeway? But actually I did that. So how can I, how can I reconcile stuff that I did?
Well, you try. I don't know how we do that. I'm going to have to figure that out because I'm sure he's going to be into something or want to do something. So, I don't know. He's super fun, though. He's a lot of fun to hang out with. We're going to go rope here in a little bit, him and I. So,
Yeah.
we have fun.
Is it weird adulting, or I guess parenting in the social media world now? Like, your job is a lot on social media. Is that hard, raising kids under that?
I mean, we just are who we are. I mean, I put a lot of stuff on Facebook and Snapchat and how crazy our life is. And yeah, I don't know. Like, what I'm most worried about is like my kids and having to make sure they're, like my middle daughter's really into TikTok and like avoiding the dangers of like people contacting them on TikTok.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's hard. But as far as just the rest, no, I don't think it's really affected our life any. I mean, we are who we are. We kind of live and let live people. We don't really judge anybody else's parenting style.
I wanted to mention something. You put something on Facebook that I thought was hilarious, and it was all these women looking at their men that looking at their skinny jeans now that there's an epidemic. They're like, hey, can this guy like cook? Can he like catch a chicken? Can he survive in the wild? It's a good.
Yeah, that was funny. I thought that was funny. I don't know. I think like ranch people, ag people maybe look at this different. We all basically lived quarantine. Quarantine hasn't really changed my life that much.
Right.
Because we work from home anyway. We're on a ranch all the time. We see people, but I mean, it's really slowed down our Mexican food consumption that we're all very proud of. But no, I thought that was really funny because it's funny how priorities shift in the world so fast, and I posted another one that was like, guys aren't worried anymore about what girl's the prettiest. They're worried about which one can catch a chicken. And that's true because, girls are in quarantine and everyone's losing their nails and, their whatever. And I mean, hey, I've had my nails done. I've had eyelash extensions. I don't right now, but,
I had a moment like that. So right after the whole quarantine thing hit in Utah, there was an earthquake. And I was like, is this the end of times? Like, what is happening? I can't believe this. And I immediately thought like, oh wait, can I catch an animal? Can I like survive in the woods? Like, I don't have any of those skills. I should have been preparing my whole life for this,
Yeah, how could we have known though? I planted a garden the other day just because I was like, if this quarantine goes on any longer, I'm going to have to be able to sustain my own pico de gallo habit. So like I literally planted every ingredient of pico de gallo. So that way I'm covered. I don't got to worry about it. I'm covered.
Priorities. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's been a really weird time, especially expecting a baby during this time. But,
yeah.
But it's funny because
what a time to bring a baby into the world, you know, like you'll have a great story. Well, when you were born, it was in the time of I mean,
yeah,
it's weird because we're all trying to make light of it, but like it's going to be a spot in history. It's going to go down in history, you know, this time that we're living in.
Yeah. Absolutely. Actually, the hospital that we're going to is the only hospital in Utah where the husband is still let in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all the other ones, it's just mom, no dad.
Oh, wow. Well, ugh.
But we're lucky.
Grateful for that.
Yeah, we still have. I can still go in, but it's crazy though. In spite of all this craziness, Singular's doing better than ever. I mean, people have stepped up.
Yeah, and I think there's so many factors leading to that. One, people are home. Our activity schedules got cleared. Mm-hmm. 3, health and wellness has become a huge priority in the world. 4, people are stuck quarantined with food and they're overeating from stress. And then another thing, there's a lot of people that need help financially. So it all lined up perfectly with our culture and our company, which is going to be an explosion, which it is. It's the best enrolling month in history. So
yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
How do you keep yourself, you personally, motivated? Like, what drives you at this point?
I mean, I want to hit gold ambassador. That drives me. I don't know. I like what I do. And I feel like it's my calling, so that makes it easy to get up every day and do it. I worked in a lab for 15 years, and I do remember thinking, is this what I was meant for? Is this it for me? No, I mean, numbers drives me. Getting progress in my business, seeing people helping build leaders below me really drives me. I mean, you can't see it right now, but if you just look to the left, I have a board here. I have a big whiteboard I keep in my office with my distributors, and I have numbers on it that I track every day to see where they are. That really motivates me. It motivates me every time I have to look over there and look at it, to help those people reach their goals.
Are you competitive?
Oh, horrible.
I think I knew the answer.
Horrible to the point that if it's Connect 4, like, you know how you probably, if you're a parent, should let your kid win some? No. Like, if we're playing Connect 4, I'm going to slay you. Or if it's hopscotch or tic-tac-toe, like, I'm not going to weaken. Like, you're just going to have to get tough faster.
Was your family like that? Siblings, parents?
I don't really remember them being like that. I mean, my dad was into racing cars, so he was competitive that way. And my brother was always racing cars or rodeoing, so he was competitive that way. I don't remember us being competitive towards each other. I don't know why I'm so competitive, but like it's a problem because I'm like, I mean, if it's hopscotch, I'm taking it serious and I'm gonna try to win.
Have you ever considered taking up like an adult league sport? Go play women's lacrosse or something, rugby. You'd be great at it.
I've thought about softball, but then I'm like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I know I used to be in a pitch club. This is kind of funny. I hope none of these women watch it. They probably won't listen to this ever, but they only let 16 people in, and it was in a small town, and literally someone had to pass away before you could get in because, like, it's the same ladies. And I was, like, the youngest one by 30 years. And I know sometimes they wanted to kick me out because, like, for them it was social time. It was, like, social catch up and eat snacks. And for me, it was like we're playing cards. This is my one card night a month. We're playing cards. Get serious. Pay attention.
Wipe that
Quit
smile off
gabbing.
your face.
Quit talking and quit snacking and pay attention to your cards. Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. I've run into that too. Like me and my wife is very competitive as well. She ran track in college, and we'll go to like a community or a church activity and play volleyball for fun. And like secretly, we're both just fuming that people aren't taking it seriously. I'm like
Yeah.
trying to have fun, pretending that we're just like, bumping
Yeah.
and setting, but deep down, I'm like, we got to win this. What are you guys doing?
Yeah. That's so me too. So me. Like everything's some kind of competition. And I think healthy competition is good. I do.
Yeah.
I think if it's, as long as it's healthy, it's good. Like, it's not so good when people get ugly or something,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Do you do video games or anything like that in your family?
No, we're not big gamers.
That's probably
Mm-mm.
good because we're not gamers either, but I've seen like if you're competitive and you got a family of competitive people, you'll just game.
Now, when I was in college, we used to play Mario Kart. My roommates and I would play Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart became the decision maker for everything. Like, oh, who's gonna have to go get the pizza? I don't know. Let's play Mario Kart. Oh,
Oh,
we're out of milk. Who's gonna go get milk? Okay, we'll play a game of Mario Kart. Loser goes and gets it. So like, I got super good at Mario Kart.
so that's the one game that me and my wife have, and I'm glad we don't do that because my wife is amazing at it and I suck. So I would have to take out the trash every time. Like all the tabs would be on me probably.
Yeah, you have to be Yoshi. I feel like Yoshi's the fastest one in Mario Kart. And then there's tricks.
She's always Yoshi, and
Yeah.
every time she tells me to be Donkey Kong, and I'm like, "Are you sure that you have my best interests at heart?"
Yeah, Donkey Kong's the heaviest. How do you expect him to be the fastest on a cart?
He's been hustling me this whole time, and I just found out that you can drift. Honestly, just
Oh
like
yeah.
like the other day, and so I'm getting 11th every time she's getting first, and she's had all these secrets that she hasn't been telling me. That's marriage.
Oh yeah. Like I don't know which one you're referring to, but ours was like old school, like in 2000 Mario Kart, and like you could cut through one of the mountains, and we didn't have like internet, all that to teach us these tricks. Like we had to learn them the hard way. So I'm sure there's all kinds of tricks now, but yeah, I just had to get good at Mario Kart because I never wanted to go get the pizza.
That's awesome. Hey, it's been about 40 minutes. I know you got to go you're going off and do something with your son. Do you have any final words for us, imparting your wisdom?
Oh man, I just think that everyone owes it to themselves to kind of go all in this business. Like, do every single thing that you've heard leaders talk about and see what happens. And I'm just know it's going to be uncomfortable. It was a super uncomfortable switch for me too. But if you don't, you're always limited. And MLM didn't fail you, Singular didn't fail you. You failed yourself because you never went all in. At some point you just gotta like go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like really go for it, really do the hard things they're asking. But the same things that I thought were hard 8 years ago, I don't think hard now. I'll put a picture up on social media and I don't care. I don't care. Yeah.
That's
You just take a real good inventory of what you're good at and what you're not and attack the things you're not good at. I think what people do is they like to repeat the things they are good at because that's easy. That's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to make a list and that's like a gut check because you have to be super real with yourself and say, it's a lot. It's holding a mirror up to your face and saying, okay, you're not so good at that. And then just really attacking it to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. If people are interested in joining your team, being part of the business, all that, how can they reach you?
So you can find me on Facebook, just Robin Packard, or there's a Robin Packard Singular on Facebook, and message me through there is probably the easiest way.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to talk to anybody about it, and it's definitely my passion. I feel like the time we live in right now was made for our culture, for us to help people.
I love that. That's awesome. Robin, again, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. If there's
Yeah.
anything you need, reach out. I'd love, I don't know how I can help, but I'd love to help.
Well, same to you, and good luck with that baby. I'm excited for you.
Thanks so much. Talk to you later,
Thank
Rob.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.